All right, welcome everybody. It's Tim Conway Jr. along with my friend Rich, who is the owner of GoldenCrest Metals in Calabasas, California, which is just outside of Los Angeles. And we're back on the air talking about gold and silver. Rich, nice to see you, man.
Nice to see you again, Tim.
How did we do with gold this week?
Gold actually did pretty well. So it's holding its own right now. Silver is actually surging. Right now, it's about $49 an ounce on spot. We're still up 70% this year and still growing. You know, they're still projecting that this is going to hit 80 to 100 an ounce. Gold, on the other hand, they're saying that it's going to hit $6,000 to $7,000 an ounce.
Wow. That'd be incredible.
It's incredible because multiple people are saying it now. Now it's not just Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. It's B of A, Reuters, Market Watch. Everyone is saying the same thing.
I've seen President Trump lately with all his gold. He's got to have millions of dollars worth of gold. There might be more gold in the White House than there is at Fort Knox.
I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, it seems that way because he's such an advocate of gold. And,
that's right.
And you see what's going on, that we might be resetting the currency based on what's going on, that, gold could even go even higher.
Wow. Unbelievable. Okay, let's give out the deal that we do every week, and it's a sweet deal. It's $25,000 worth of free silver when you phone and you talk to Rich and you have a qualifying offer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Qualifying offer. And that's good for the minted coins. Am I getting that term right?
Yeah, it's premium mintage coins.
Mintage coins. Yeah. Premium mintage coins. Now, does silver have premium mintage coins as well?
They actually do.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that's worth more than spot silver.
That's worth more than spot. So there's this misconception. Spot, people think that we buy on spot. We do not buy on spot. Spot is the price of gold and silver in the ground. It doesn't take into account of it taken out of the ground, mined, minted, processed, insured, everything else that goes along with it. So, we do get a lot of calls from people saying, well, if it's at spot, I want to buy on spot. I wish I could, but it doesn't happen.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, if you could, then you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Right. All right, call this number right now. Get $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying offer. $25,000 in free silver, 833-362-3843. This deal is guaranteed to go until January 1st, but not after January 1st. The deal might change, and it may not be this sweet. So phone them up right now. Call Rich right now at GoldenCrest Metals, 833-362-3843. And let's say somebody does call and they have a qualifying offer. They buy the $250,000 in premium mintage coins. Does the $25,000 in free silver get put into their account immediately?
Immediately.
Wow.
There's no lag time. There's no wait a couple months. It's immediately put into the account.
Woo, that must be attractive to a lot of listeners.
It is. We've gotten a lot of phone calls in the last 2 weeks since we've been on the radio.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, inquiring about the promotion. So it's actually, I'm trying to do projections to make sure we have enough silver by year end to offer the promotion. So
okay, so it's guaranteed just till January 1st.
Just till January 1st right now.
Okay. All right, here's the phone number again. Get your free silver. Don't pass up on this deal. You've passed up on a lot of deals in life. I've done the same thing. Don't do it with this one. This is not one you can sit on your hands. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843, or go to the website, goldencrestmetals.com, goldencrestmetals.com. I heard this term this week, and I know that Nicole stuck it in the show notes. What is shadow banking, and what is the shadow banking bubble for people like me who have not ever read a book on the economy?
Shadow banking is basically based on the bubble that we're kind of experiencing right now. What's going on right now is, the Fitch warns there's a $3 trillion private credit market showing a bubble-like characteristic. The market grew 50% in recent years, leverage and financial engineering increasing. So it's a lot of things that, we're growing in a retail participation, which adds instability. So
is that good for gold or bad?
It's actually good for gold.
Oh, good.
But it's not good for the economy.
Oh, bad.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
what's happening is that, and I don't want to go back to China, but China is actually helping us out by the surge of gold that we're seeing right now.
Okay, so the Chinese gold, are you talking about the $83 billion they just happen to find?
Well, that's
or
great.
their stocks?
What's happening is because they have no faith in the dollar and the tariffs and everything else, it's actually having this weird effect where it's actually surging gold and silver.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great. Another reason to buy.
It's another reason to buy. I mean, even though we don't like China, they're actually helping us out in a way.
Right. Do you think in our lifetime, we're about the same age, do you think in our lifetime we'll ever see the Chinese economy eclipse the American economy?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't personally see it as a true American because I always believe that we'll always figure it out. And we have. We've gone through recessions. We've gone through wars. We've always come out on top. I don't have any fear that anyone's ever going to topple us.
And you know what? Speaking of downturns, I think historically they all come in October, so I think we dodged a bullet there.
I think we did too. I really do.
And if we did dodge that bullet, maybe it's perfect to buy gold. And speaking of gold, you can get $25,000 in free silver right now. What is that weigh? What is so $25,000?
So I think we went through this last time.
We tried to figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so $25,000. If it's $50 an ounce, let's just say it's $50 an ounce. So 2 ounces is 100. So 50 ounces of gold. Then I mean, it's 50 ounces of silver.
Yeah, and I think we went through a couple hundred pounds of silver to try to fit into a safe.
Okay.
That just won't fit.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do, because I'm not great at math. I'm going to pull my calculator out, and I'm going to, $25,000 and divide it by 50, and it equals 500 ounces of silver. That's a lot of silver.
It's a lot of silver to keep around.
Yeah. I asked a buddy of mine, I said, hey, if you can bench press $1 million in $100 bills or it was $1 bills, it came out to an astronomical amount of weight. These coins and silver. Actually, I got a great question for you. I thought about this over the week. What weighs more? I know, not per ounce, but space wise, is gold denser than silver?
I don't know if it's more dense. I mean, they all weigh the same. I mean,
right, an ounce of gold is an ounce of silver.
Silver, it's the same weight. So,
right. But does it take up more space, or is it minimal?
What happens is because you can buy more silver, it takes up more space.
Oh, I see. Right.
And I usually go off the price point, because when people say, I want to buy gold, only gold, and I want to buy $100,000 worth of gold, well, that's reasonable to put in a safe.
Right.
You want to buy $100,000 worth of silver, you better get a couple safes,
right.
Or dig a hole.
Right. Here's the phone number. Get your free silver, $25,000 in free silver. And a lot of people think, oh, wait, that deal sounds too good to be true. But it's true. And it only is going to go on for sure. It's only guaranteed until January 1st. You have about 2 months, a little less than 2 months to jump on this. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843, or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com. And your rule of thumb is keep it in a vault out of state and make sure it's insured, anything over $50,000. But because you and I live in L.A., anything over $12 you should keep in Delaware.
Yeah, or in your back pocket.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it is amazing how many times we've seen break-ins. If you don't live in Southern California, maybe you've read about it online. The amount of crime that is happening in Los Angeles is astronomical. And it's happening in areas that were very traditionally safe. Studio City, Sherman Oaks, Encino, Woodland Hills, Calabasas, Thousand Oaks. Very safe cities to live in. And that's why the homes are expensive, because of a safe community. And now these people are breaking in all the time. And I love your recommendation. If you have more than $50,000 in gold or silver, keep it in a safe in Delaware where it's insured, or one of the other reserves where it's insured, and you can sleep at night that no one's going to come in and steal it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it actually reminds me of my old patrol days, is that Studio City was one of our areas, and everyone loved having the Studio City patrol route because there was really nothing to do.
Right.
But then as soon as you went north of the 101, that's where things started getting a little sketchy. Yeah, that's when things really started getting sketchy.
Yeah.
But now it's starting to change now, where that Studio City and that area is becoming more burglarized and robberies and, a lot of other stuff. It's starting to mirror what's going on north of the 101.
Right. And that's where the money is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Call this number right now. Get yourself $25,000 in free silver instantly with a qualifying purchase on the mintage coins, premium mintage coins. 833-362-3843, 833-362-3843. When we talk about coins and melting them down, old silver dollars and silver dimes and silver half dollars, is that a thing? Do people still do that, or is it worth more as the face and the heads and the tails on that coin?
We get a lot of phone calls about this. People saying that they have their half dollars, they have about 10 pounds of it, and can we take it and convert it into money? And I guess the answer is no. You're better off taking it to a coin collector, or, somebody like that. It's not 99.9% pure silver anyways. It's usually like 50% or something. So
I have an uncle, Jerry Dalton. He wants to call you to have his golden teeth removed and spend the gold at the track. Do you guys do that?
Yeah, that of course we would do that, as long as it's for the track.
Okay.
All
right.
You're betting on Sugarfoot.
That's right, exactly. Call up Rich right now, 833-362-3843. He knows everything about gold and silver. He's been doing it for a long time. He was a member of LAPD, the finest police force in the United States, in my opinion, for 4 years?
About 4 years.
Yeah, and then got out, wanted to help people. He thought, you could do it with LAPD, but LAPD, you have to have a real stomach for that, and the stuff you see, man, that can turn you quickly. Anyway, so he got out of LAPD, started his own business, and now he owns GoldenCrest Metals after being in the metal business for a long time. He's got great employees that really care about you and your future and are going to try to help you out. So as you get older, you can spend some more time at home. The key is spending as many years in your house as you can before your kids throw you into some kind of nursing home, and you can do that with money, and you need money in the future. What is the rule of thumb now with investments, with percentages of stock, percentage of property, savings, and metals?
So right now they've changed that 60-40 rule that we've all been accustomed to 60-20-20. So 20% being in precious metals.
Okay.
So everyone is advocating the 20%. The only people not advocating it are the banks and the financial advisors, which is always a hurdle because the financial advisors are making a commission and they don't want to lose money and they don't want to give it up. And the banks are making money off of your money.
Here's the phone number. Get your free silver, $25,000 in free silver. And a lot of people think, oh, wait, that deal sounds too good to be true. But it's true. And it only is going to go on for sure. It's only guaranteed until January 1st. You have about 2 months, a little less than 2 months to jump on this. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843, or go to the website, goldencrestmetals.com.
I've gotten a lot of calls this week saying, well, I feel comfortable with my money in the bank. I said, even with the bank failures and you're only making, 3%? You could have made 50% on gold.
As long as I've known you, you're not a crazy conspiracy theorist, a pretty level-headed guy. And to come on every week and seriously talk about, the banks could be in trouble and close, it's not some kind of crazy theory anymore.
No, I don't really subscribe to the conspiracy theories. There's a lot of them out there. I try to be objective about everything that I look at and say, let's look at the history of things. And because history always has a way of repeating itself. And when I look at it, there is no real conspiracy here. You got a president who's trying to correct the economy. At first, people are scared. That's the number one thing I get when I talk to people is they're scared. They don't know what's going to happen. But the one thing I try to rest them assured of is that with gold and silver holding their value, at least, that should be some assurance.
Right.
But the Fed's just cut rates, I think, 0.25%, which is great for home buyers and, you're getting credit cards and stuff like that. But for you, it's not great, for money in the bank.
Sure. Backing up here for a second, then I'll give a phone number again here for the free silver. What does that mean that Trump is trying to correct the economy? Is that through fairer trade and not being taken advantage of by foreign countries as much?
I don't think he wants to be controlled. And
Right.
we've let other countries control us.
I see.
So I think, in my opinion, he's trying to make us self-sufficient.
Okay.
So we're not relying on other countries. China, him putting the tariff on China, yeah, it's scary at first. We're going to go through some growing pains that, we're going to have to go through, but I think the end result will be there.
Okay, here's the phone number. Get your free silver, $25,000 in free silver. And a lot of people think, oh, wait, that deal sounds too good to be true. But it's true. And it only is going to go on for sure. It's only guaranteed until January 1st. You have about 2 months, a little less than 2 months to jump on this. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843. Or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com. I understand that Nicole has put up a quiz on the website.
Yeah, the quiz was started in response to some of the calls I was getting in the last couple of weeks where people were unsure. It's not a pass or fail test, so you don't have to study for it.
Oh, good.
It's a very simple analysis of where you stand with your portfolio and where we can qualify you into a certain program. Because a lot of people were saying, well, should I invest this amount of money? What should I do? So we set up a couple of quick questionnaires for them. It comes directly to me and my team, and I review it, and I say, okay, this is probably the best program to place you in, and this is probably the least amount of risk.
Okay, well, that makes people feel better.
I think it does. It's not a sales pitch, to say, if you don't have this amount of money, we don't want you.
Right.
People come to us, like I said, with $10,000 and say, what do I do? Am I too small? Of course not. We want to make sure we tailor to everyone. We do have a minimum of 10,000, but we try to tailor to people, even if they're 10,000 or $1 million, we treat them all the same.
Let me ask you a question, and then I'll give out the phone number again. Let's say, a kid gets a $5,000 gift from mom or dad or grandma and grandpa, maybe for a birthday or bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah. Is it a good idea? Like, they don't need the money right now. They're not going to college. They're, they're young teens or early teens. Is it a good investment to just buy gold and just let them sit on it for 20 or 30 years?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think when I started this, I thought I'd be getting calls from people that are my age, 50 on up. But now I'm getting calls from people in their 20s and 30s and, even
good.
40s saying, I want to invest in gold. And I didn't think it was a young man's market or young woman's market. I always thought this is kind of an older boutique type thing that you would invest in. Younger generation wants to do crypto. They want to do day trading, stocks, because I know that's what I did. I never thought about gold, but now the younger generation's thinking about it and they're doing it.
I had put in not a lot of money. I just wanted to dip my toe into it. We got a bonus at work, and I put it in $5,000 in crypto on the day before it went in the toilet. And at the end of the next day, it was worth about $400.
Yeah.
That can't happen with gold. You can never put $5,000 into gold, and then the next day it's worth $200.
No, and that's the scary thing about crypto. I mean, it's like I said before, you go to Vegas and gamble.
Right.
You probably have better odds there.
It's probably equal advice.
Yeah, get on the baccarat table. Get the 50-50 odds,
Right, it might even be better at some point.
Yeah, it might be better.
And you're going to have more fun, too. Free drinks and...
get bet on Banker.
All right, let's give out the phone number here again. $25,000 in free silver given to you by Rich at GoldenCrest Metals if you have a qualifying purchase. 833-362-3843. Call them up right now. By the way, I meant to ask you this off the air. Maybe I can ask you on the air.
Yeah.
Do you have people standing by on weekends when the show is on?
We do.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So there are people standing by right now. 833-362-3843. And you can call them. Somebody will pick up and give you all the details on this $25,000 worth of free silver with a qualifying purchase. Premium vintage coins. 833-362-3843, 833-362-3843, or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com, GoldenCrestMetals.com. All right, let's talk about the economy here. The Fed balance. I think the Fed just dropped their interest rate by a quarter point this
Yeah, I think it was a
week?
quarter.
A quarter point. Do you see it coming down again, and how does that affect gold?
Well, it's affecting gold where, gold is surging in response to that.
Oh, good.
So it's a great thing that's happening. It's scaring a lot of people because what's happening is it has this reverse reaction to when the actual point goes down, gold and silver go up. It's great for gold and silver, but it's not great for the overall economy. And I believe in a balance with the economy. It's great that I'm in the gold and silver business, but I want to see America thrive as a whole. There's got to be a balance where the economy sustains itself along with gold and silver.
I like that attitude about you. Another reason to call Rich. Your entire life, you've had a theme of helping people out. And I think you're like me. And again, I don't know your politics, and your politics are your politics. But at least with me, and I think you're on the same page, whoever is president after, whatever election in November, you still root for the country.
Yeah, regardless. I root for the country because it has to be what's best for Americans. And,
Right.
When gold stops being good for Americans, it's then time to do something different. I say that because I want to do something that's good for people. Now, I've listened to a lot of radio shows, and I've heard a lot of people that have other gold companies say, dump all your money into gold and silver. I just don't support that. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm in the gold and silver business, but I don't say dump everything into it because it's doing great right now. You have to diversify, and that's what the whole point of being in gold and silver is diversification. It's not to take your whole life savings and dump it into one thing. It's like dumping it in one stock. You have to have money to do other things, pay your bills, maybe invest in real estate. You have to basically do other things in life.
And if you do happen to put all of your money into gold or silver, and then you have to sell it quickly, that's not a good long-term strategy anyway.
No, it's not. And usually people who tell me that in the very beginning say, listen, I'm going to invest $100,000, but I'm probably going to need 10 grand in 30 days. Well, then don't do it. Okay. But then only invest 90,000. Okay. Because nothing's really going to change dramatically in 30 days with $10,000. So,
you're just going to end up paying fees.
Yeah, you're just going to end up paying fees and doing a lot of paperwork. So, it's not worth it.
I'd love to listen to some of those phone conversations where, and I'm sure you do it in a very kind way, but it has to be, sort of an Eco 101 lesson for a lot of people. Here's the phone number. Get your free silver, $25,000 in free silver. And a lot of people think, oh, wait, that deal sounds too good to be true. But it's true, and it only is going to go on for sure. It's only guaranteed until January 1st. You have about 2 months, a little less than 2 months to jump on this. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843, or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com.
People are listening to the news. They hope for the best. And you're also listening to billionaires that are saying there's crash warnings that are going to happen. So that's scaring people too. I mean, people like Ray Dalio, Paul Tudor Jones,
right.
All of them are saying that we're in this death spiral. So that it's all doom and gloom. And that's scaring a lot of people into gold and silver, which in a way is good, but I don't believe President Trump is leading us to a doom and gloom economy. I believe
good.
I believe, yes, we are going to go through some growing pains. Gold and silver are going to help support our growth, and then eventually it'll correct itself. But it's like anything, it's going to take time, and you just have to have faith.
Is there going to be any gold left in the United States once they put up the official new ballroom at the White House?
Yeah, that's an amazing thing in itself, that remodel.
$300 million seems like such a...
Well, they got permits pretty quick from what I saw.
I guess they did. If you think about it, Dodger Stadium cost $24 million to build, back in the late 50s, early 60s. Yeah. And now $300 million for a ballroom for 1,000 people.
Yeah.
The drawings and everything look spectacular. And I guess he turned to one of his cabinet members and said, what permits do we need? And they said, you're the president, you're in the White House, you can start tonight.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. I mean, I remember when Frank McCourt with the Dodgers was redoing the Dodger Stadium, and the permit process was insane. Then I heard he was thinking about a ballroom, and the next thing I know, they were hitting a wrecking ball into the White House. So I was like, that's the fastest permit I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was like the very next day. It was incredible. All right, we got to take a break here. While we're at a break, please call this number right now. There are people live standing by at GoldenCrest Metals. They've come in during the weekend to answer your questions. $25,000 in free silver, 25 grand in free silver with a qualifying purchase of premium Mintage Coins. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843. Or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com. GoldenCrestMetals.com. It's Tim Conway Jr. and Rich here on the Crest Report. We'll be back in just a bit to give you more information on this sweet deal, but this all comes to an end around January 1st. The Crest Report. We're here every weekend on this station. Welcome back, everybody. Tim Conway Jr. along with Rich here on the Crest Report. It's on every single weekend here on this beautiful radio station you're listening to. And we talk about gold, silver, precious metals, the economy, mostly gold, though. Rich has an extremely long background in gold, knows everything about it. So call Rich right now at this phone number and ask about the $25,000 in free silver for a qualifying purchase of premium mintage coins. 833-362-3843. I'll give you that number a little slower so you can write it down, or if you're not driving, punch it in your phone. 833-362-3843. There are people live right now while you're listening to the show at the office, and they can tackle your phone call. The $25,000 in free silver goes right into their account immediately. That is a sweet deal. You know, since we've been doing this show for this is the fourth show now, I've been looking online at other deals. I don't see anybody else making that offer.
No, it's probably for good reasons too.
Right.
I had a call.
They don't
with
want to
my
go broke.
Well, yeah, I had a call with my sales manager this week, and he said, "You know that promotion you're running?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, the profit margins aren't what they should be." He goes, "How much longer you want to run this for?" I said, "Well, only until December." He goes, "All right, not past December." So
that's great. Get a phone call like the sit and sleep. You're killing me, Larry.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's great. All right, call the number right now and get yourself some gold. And if you qualify, you get $25,000 in free silver. Free silver, 833-362-3843. Last year, or maybe even earlier this year, time flies. I don't remember when this happened, when Costco was selling gold. I think they had 1 million ounces or so, and it sold out pretty quickly. How did they get all that gold, and how could they sell it for that kind of price?
I've tried to research that whole Costco deal.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because they did $100 million a year in selling gold.
Wow.
And what I understand is they don't do returns.
Okay.
So they don't have a buyback policy.
All right.
But I think they also limit you on the amount of gold you can buy.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't go in there and put it in your shopping cart and clean them out.
But was it physical gold you could take home?
It's physical gold you can take home.
Wow.
So, I was trying to figure out, how are they buying this? And Costco, because I did some work with Costco back at, when I was with a development firm, and we were looking at doing these kiosks that, on your way walking out of Costco, you have all these other vendors that are,
Sure.
Set up kiosks. And I met with them and went through their whole business plan and how they really structure making their money on their memberships.
Okay.
They have a certain markup that they have on everything, and that's what they stick to. But they really rely on their membership costs. So they're not looking to make 50% on goods. They have that set percentage. It's actually a low percentage. I really don't want to say what it is, but it's a certain percentage, and then they make the money on the membership fees. So the fact that they're selling gold, they're attracting more customers into the store.
Oh, I see.
That are buying other goods, and then, oh, by the way, I'm going to buy some gold while I'm here.
Right.
So it's just an added benefit to it. Do I think they're making a lot of money doing it? Probably not. It's just an added value to the customer for other things.
And great publicity, too.
It's great publicity.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, the fact that Costco is selling gold at this point, I never thought it'd be possible. And that even reaffirms that you need to invest in gold and silver. You shouldn't wait.
Right. And also the different levels, getting it into Costco, having it delivered, having it secured. I mean, there's a lot that goes with holding that much gold.
It is. I mean, the security,
Right,
the insurance, just everything that's involved with it. Even where, I'm working and how it works, it's difficult. I can only imagine, trying to do $100 million worth of gold in a consumer-driven marketplace.
Right.
Because, there's theft, there's all types of things that
Sure.
can happen. So you open yourself up.
The phone number to call to get the free silver, $25,000 in free silver, not guaranteed after this year expires in a little over 7 weeks. 833-362-3843, 833-362-3843, or go to the website, goldencrestmetals.com. There are people standing by live right now while you're listening to the show, and they're going to pick up the phone and talk to you about gold. You may qualify for $25,000 in free silver. Do you go back far enough like I do to when it was called Price Club?
Gemco,
Yeah,
Fedco.
Gemco, yeah. Gemco
Fedco.
used to be up on in Woodland Hills. That's when we went to all the time.
Yeah, I remember I liked Fedco, but the problem is you had to be a federal employee at the time in order to buy anything there. And I remember as a kid, there were toys that only Fedco had, and my parents didn't work for the post office.
Man, that brings back a memory, Gemco. I remember my mom going at Christmas, and she forgot her membership card at home, and they wouldn't let her in, and she threw an unbelievable fit, man. I could still remember her yelling at people. Oh, God almighty. But Costco is great. You mentioned when you leave there, the 5 or 6 services there, either, air conditioning, HVAC, windows, whatever. Those companies are all acutely aware if they screw up, they might lose that account. And, man, they are on their best behavior when they come out and install.
Yeah, so it's interesting. On the kiosk, you have to buy your kiosk. So that usually runs about $20,000. And what they do is it's kind of an interesting model. I know we're getting off topic, but you have to pay up front. So, like, let's say closets, that's one of the vendors they have. You pay up front and you pay Costco. But Costco doesn't release the money to the contractor until the customer is fully satisfied and signed off on it. So that's how well they are into customer service. And if they're ever dissatisfied, they will still refund the full amount of money back to the customer.
It's amazing.
At least this is the way it was when I, was dealing with.
The phone number to call to get the free silver, $25,000 in free silver, not guaranteed after this year expires in a little over 7 weeks. 833-362-3843, 833-362-3843, or go to the website, goldencrestmetals.com. There are people standing by live right now while you're listening to the show, and they're going to pick up the phone and talk to you about gold. You may qualify for $25,000 in free silver. I'll tell you a quick story. I bought my swing set for my daughter when she was 3 or 4, and we had it for 10 years. And I was friends with a guy, one of the guys who was in Costco management. And we had a party. It was in the backyard. And he said, hey, this swing set is dangerous. It's rusting on part of the side here. I said, well, we've had it for 12 years. He goes, where'd you buy it? I said, Costco. He said, call them up and have them take it back. I said, it's been 12 years. He said, doesn't matter. They'll take it back.
Yeah, customer service is their number one thing. And that's one of the
insane.
things. I try to mirror that because of my experience with Costco with the gold and silver business is try to put the customer first, like anything, and make sure that they're fully satisfied. Because that's really where you get repeat business. That's why people are, going back to Costco all the time.
Right, and run the risk of repeating myself here. It sounds like you've been doing that your whole life, from from getting into LAPD to getting into gold and silver and the stock market and real estate. From what I know of you, your vibe is principally to help people out and secondarily to help yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what I've always strived to do. A lot of people, going back in history when they join law enforcement, it's either a power trip or, they need an energy fix and everything else. I was kind of on the other side of the fence where I was like, I just wanted to help people in domestic violence cases. I just wanted to help people. I always had it in my blood.
And you're experiencing their worst minute or their worst hour of their life.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar with gold and silver because a lot of people that call say, I just lost all this money in the stock market. What do I do? And I say, well, I'm not a financial advisor, but what money can you set aside to put in gold and silver but still live comfortably?
Right.
And that's the number one thing. So it's trying to make sure there's a balance there. And that's the thing I think people lose sight of that are in the gold and silver business is take it all, put it all in, and the company profits. And what happens is the customer ends up losing.
Right.
They really do. I'm not saying because gold and silver goes down. It's just like I've told you before, it's diversification. That's
Sure.
really what you should be into. And yeah, gold's going great and silver's going great. But, I've made a lot of money in real estate too.
Excellent. Here's the phone number to call. $25,000 in free silver will be yours with a qualifying purchase of premium mintage coins. 833-362-3843. The $25,000 in silver goes directly into your account, much to the dismay of Rich's finance guys who are pulling their hair out over this. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843, or go to GoldenCrestMetals.com. GoldenCrestMetals.com. Before we went to a commercial break, we were talking about the difference between gold and silver. When is the right time to invest? What the percentages are, 60, 20, and 20. Is there a time of year that's better for buying precious metals than others? I know like real estate has their seasons.
So I think there is a little bit of a seasonality with gold and silver because once we start entering into the holidays, people try to save money for presents and holiday parties and everything else. But really what's happening is people are taking their year-end bonus and putting that into gold and silver as they did last year. I don't know if they'll do it this year, but based on the unemployment that's been going on lately. But a lot of people have been doing that, and they actually been gifting gold bars to their grandkids or kids, and
cool.
so on. So it's becoming more of the Toys R Us days are kind of gone. So now people are saying, well, maybe I'll pass on a couple bars, and it'll be worth something to them. And so I'm starting to see that now more.
Yeah. But that's a great gift for somebody. I mean, to give them a leg up in their future.
It really is. I mean, it's kind of like, those days when you got a check from your grandpa for like $10 or something, So it's kind of something similar, but worth a lot more.
Right. I wish I got a check for $10. My grandmother, who used to live in Windsor, Canada, just over the river, the Detroit River from Detroit, Michigan. Every birthday, she would send me $1 Canadian, which was worth, I think, 62 cents at the time. Right.
Yeah.
And I love the effort, and they're more sentimental than they were, worth anything. But I enjoy that. All right, call this number right now. Get yourself $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. This deal is not guaranteed to go past December 31st, January 1st, New Year's of this year. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843. We got an email here. Somebody asking where the Nicole quiz is. Is that up on the website?
So it's on the website. It's goldencrestmetals.com/quiz.
Oh, /quiz. Okay. And there's no yes or no. You're not going to get graded on it. It just tells you where you should be financially and how to help you manage your money.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Excellent. Okay. And so go take the quiz and see where you are. GoldenCrestMetals.com. GoldenCrestMetals.com. You brought up unemployment, people getting fired. It's horrible. Paramount just fired 1,000 people. They're going to reduce their employees by 10%, which is a lot over the next year or so. You see it at Amazon in the upper levels of management. And so a lot of these companies are no longer matching the 401k. If you take the 401k money, can you direct that into silver and gold?
Yeah, you can do a self-directed IRA rollover, which is tax and penalty free. So it's going to make you more money than letting it sit in your old 401k.
Do you see a lot of people doing that?
I would say 80% of our business is IRA and 401ks.
Is that right?
Yeah, people are they're losing money. The people that do cash purchases, unfortunately, have to battle their financial advisor who is the gatekeeper. And those are difficult to get past because they do not want to lose that commission.
Right, and a lot of times they're friends with them. They've been over to the house
Yeah,
for Christmas
they've
or
been,
birthdays.
I had one recently that said, he wanted to invest, I think, $1 million, and it wasn't all his portfolio, obviously, but he talked to his financial advisor, and he said, well, I'll put you in ETFs. And I'm like, ETFs are garbage. They're controlled. So, and I ended up arguing with the financial advisor, what do you want best for your client, to make money or to lose money? So you make money whether they lose or win.
Right, which is
But
not the way it should be.
it's not the way it should be.
Right.
And you should only make money if they make money. I mean, that's if you're a financial advisor. That's the way I think. But it doesn't work out that way. And unfortunately, like you said, they become personal friends with these people, especially the affluent type people that have a lot of money. They hold on to them and they have personal relationships with them and they trust them.
The phone number to call to get the free silver, $25,000 in free silver, not guaranteed after this year expires in a little over 7 weeks. 833-362-3843, 833-362-3843, or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com. There are people standing by live right now while you're listening to the show, and they're going to pick up the phone and talk to you about gold. You may qualify for $25,000 in free silver. I'll tell you a quick story about my dad's financial advisor. My dad was betting on horses, and he bet TVG, but he only spent like $300 or $400, a month, maybe. Sometimes he didn't spend $1, but he didn't want his credit cards to be online, because he thought that they would be stolen. He didn't mind my credit cards going online to give him money, but he didn't want his. So I kept putting it on my credit card, and then his accountant would send me a check every month for $200, $400. I think the most was $500. And that went on for 3 years. And I saw her at a Thanksgiving party, and she said, "Are you working?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Is your dad paying for your car payment for the last 3 years?" So every time I saw her at any kind of event, family event, she thought it was his deadbeat who my dad was paying for my car payment because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
I was just helping him with his gambling, Jones.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, it went on for 3 years. I couldn't understand why I was getting always a dirty look at the holidays all the time. She thought it was a deadbeat. All right, call up right now. Call Rich. Get your free silver. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843. $25,000 in free silver. Free silver. And this deal is not guaranteed past January 1st. December 31st, January 1st of this year. New Year's. You know what I'm talking about. 833-362-3843. Rich, if somebody called you and they said, I want $25,000 in gold and I want to have it in my house, by the time they give you the money, what's the turnover time and what's the process? Is that gold then purchased by you and then sent to them?
So it's usually purchased through wholesalers that we have.
Okay.
And it depends on availability. Right now, availability is pretty crazy right now because everyone's buying gold and silver. So it depends on availability, the type of coin, type of bar, and stuff like that. I have a customer that invested $120,000 a couple months ago, and their portfolio went up to $50,000, so it's about $170,000 right now.
Oh, that's great.
And she's ecstatic about it.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, it's just amazing.
We should have her on the show.
We should have her on the show. I think she's local.
Okay.
So it's no drive to Vegas.
Right.
So what I was going to say is that what's good about it, people are scared. They're like, I'm going to take my money, I'm going to put it into a house remodel, I'm going to buy a second home, I'm going to do all this other stuff that's not going to make me any money. And especially, why are you doing that in a down economy? I mean, We're basically in a recession, and you want to go remodel your house?
It does seem crazy. They just don't know what to do. When I was going through school, I went through LAUSD, and there was not a single class on what to do with your money in the 12 years I was at LAUSD. There was photography, history, PE, science, math, but nobody sat down and say, here's what you should do with your money. I think it's a disgrace.
Or your life.
Yeah, right, exactly. Your mom and dad, they're getting by. They don't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do. That's why, we rely on people like you to help us out.
Yeah, and it seems like everyone lives paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
Now,
I have a friend who's an accountant. His average clients, a married couple, combined making $250,000 a year, and they're paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, It doesn't mean anything anymore. It just like a bachelor's degree doesn't mean anything anymore. Now the common is you have to have a master's. You
Oh,
know?
is that right?
That's right. I mean, I have my master's, but I thought it was a huge thing when I got it. And
But
when
it was.
when I was interviewing, everyone had a master's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting how things have just kind of upped, on everything.
Sure.
I thought, $250,000 a year in salary is a lot of money, but in California, it's nothing.
Right. I mean, remember when again, we're about the same age. Growing up, when a guy would drive a high-end Rolls Royce or a Porsche by, and people whisper, "He's a millionaire."
Yeah.
He's a millionaire. Now, if you say he's a millionaire, you're like, well, what happened to this guy?
Yeah.
Why
Is he down on his luck or what?
Exactly.
You know?
Is he busted out?
Yeah. He's been at the horse races too much. So
That's classic. The phone number to call to get the free silver, $25,000 in free silver, not guaranteed after this year expires in a little over 7 weeks. 833-362-3843, 833-362-3843, or go to the website, goldencrestmetals.com. There are people standing by live right now while you're listening to the show, and they're going to pick up the phone and talk to you about gold. You may qualify for $25,000 in free silver. It is a shame that there aren't more, people out there in school to get people at a young age to think about their money,
yeah, you have a lot of people that I've spoken to and called in, and I say, even if you don't go with me, just make the right choice, and we educate
That's
them.
a great attitude.
It is, and sometimes they come back to us, or sometimes they come back with a crazy story saying, "Hey, I can buy the gold and silver below spot." Well, give me the number, I'll call because I want to buy from that person.
That's just somebody listening to somebody who's trying to scam them, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's no secret sauce to this thing. Everyone buys at basically the same price if you're in the gold and silver business. Buying below spot, it's probably not pure. You're probably buying it from the jewelry district,
Right.
and I've heard stories all over the board where people want to take $250,000, and because of a couple dollar difference, they want to take that risk. And it's that penny wise, dollar foolish mentality.
Sure. Yeah.
You know.
And that's what destroys a lot of people, and they have to end up selling the house, selling the cars, and living in an apartment when they do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just making those kind of decisions. You think that you're saving money, but you're not.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about the quiz again. You can go to the website, goldencrestmetals.com/quiz, and you can take the quiz. How long is it? How many questions and how in depth is it?
Well, it's a Scantron.
That's good.
And probably, everyone listening probably doesn't know what a Scantron is. Scantrons, you remember back in the day when you would fill out the bubbles, on the SAT, and then they'd feed it into a computer and spit out the answer.
Right. It's like buying a lottery ticket.
Yeah,
nowadays.
it's like buying a lottery ticket. Right. So, no, this is a little bit different. There's drop-down menus, so you don't have to fill in anything.
Yeah, it's not like taking the SAT.
No, it's,
Okay. All right, that's excellent. Call a guy like you who principally cares about this person's future. And I can hear it in your voice. Every week we do the show, there's plenty of examples of you saying 5 minutes ago, you can go back and listen to the show. If you don't go with me, go with somebody else and make the right decision. That kind of attitude allows you, when you go to bed at night, to fall asleep immediately.
It does, because not everyone is a GoldenCrest client.
Right.
There are people out there that are looking for a unicorn. We don't sell unicorns,
Right.
Unfortunately. They're looking for the best deal in town. And yeah, we have a great deal and we have a great promotion and we have great customer service, but we can't sell below cost. It just doesn't work that way. No business runs that way. And if you got a special deal or got a cousin or a friend or roommate that has sold you on the fact you can buy below spot, listen, I'll give you the warning, but that's about all I can do.
Right. That's all you can do.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah. Call this number right now and grab some of Rich's silver. $25,000 worth of Rich's silver before that evaporates and his finance guys hit him over the head because he's giving away too much. goldencrestmetals.com/quiz about your finances. The phone number to call to get the free silver. $25,000 in free silver, not guaranteed after this year expires in a little over 7 weeks. 833-362-3843. 833-362-3843. Or go to the website, GoldenCrestMetals.com. There are people standing by live right now while you're listening to the show, and they're going to pick up the phone and talk to you about gold. You may qualify for $25,000 in free silver. Rich, have a nice week, and we'll catch you next week at this exact station, this exact time for another chat about gold.
I look forward to it.
Excellent. We'll see you next week. Go to the website and check out. You can listen to past shows. You can also take the quiz as well. GoldenCrestMetals.com. It's Tim Conway Jr. and Rich for the Crest Report right here on this beautiful station.